Happy New Year! This is the first video of the year and I'm so excited to be bringing you guys a simple beginner-friendly makeup look. It is the start of the year and we all need to be on the same makeup game, same makeup level, and so I really wanted to take you guys through just the essential steps that you can use to just get into makeup and then grow from it. So I really hope that you find this super helpful. Everything that I use will be in the caption and I can't wait to share more makeup tutorials with you guys this year. Definitely let me know in the comments whatever you'd like to see next. I am just so excited to start this year with you guys, so let's get into it. I will always start my makeup looks with skincare. It's so important. So today I am going in with my Fenty Skin Fat Water and my Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream. I always want to make sure my skin is nicely moisturized and hydrated, and so the Fenty Skin Fat Water is like pouring water on your face. I just really love that. Look at that glow. And then I'll go in with the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream as a thick moisturizer to just keep all of that moisture locked in. This feels so good, guys. Like, this is one of my favorite parts to starting any look. And for my lips, they're already moisturized. I used my Tatcha lip mask. Absolutely love it. It's super moisturizing. All of that was just the prep. Now we're going into the makeup. So I'm going to start off with a primer. A primer is a must for me, and so today I am using my Covergirl Skin Enhancer primer. This is the sticky grip version. I love it because it's super hydrating, and so I apply it all over my face. This one is optional, but I really love to go in with another primer, and this is the Covergirl Skin Enhancer Velvet Blur primer. I absolutely love going in with a second primer because here I can treat any skin texture or skin problems that I do have, and so just going in with that Velvet Blur, I'm just gonna pop it on my forehead, and I have broken out here, so I'm just gonna blur that as well. And so this is how I just like to apply my primers. You can definitely go in with just one primer, but if you do have some skin concerns, I recommend a second primer that just targets that problem for you, and it just helps your makeup look even better without doing too many steps. If you know me, I love this skin tint, and if you're a beginner, this is actually so perfect for you. This is the IT Cosmetics CC Plus Nude Glow Skin Tint. I really love it because the finish is fabulous. It's also so easy to blend, and I just really love how natural it looks throughout the day. This is one of those foundations that honestly just gets better as you wear it. Look at that shade match. Incredible. So I like to blend out my foundation with a foundation brush, and this is just so easy to do. All we're doing is just spreading it all over our face in big long strokes, and you just want to make sure everything is nicely blended in. I like to take it into my hairline just a bit so there isn't like a harsh line. Take it over my brows, over my eyelid. When it comes to makeup, you want to layer on your makeup gradually, so don't be afraid if you feel like you need more coverage. Like me right now, I'm like, I just need maybe 1 or 2 more pumps. There's nothing wrong with that. You just want to be in a place where you can look at your makeup and just kind of assess it, and that's how you kind of get better at figuring out what you like and the way you like certain products. Whatever's left on the brush, I will take it down my neck. This is definitely optional. I just find that I just love it to complete like the entire look. And so I'm just gonna go over everything again, make sure I like what I see. Now that we're done with our foundation, it's time for our concealer. Now I have 2 concealers here just because that's my personal preference, but if you're a beginner, you can definitely just use one. I just want to give people options so they can figure out ways to play around with makeup, and it's just like easier for them to learn what they like. This is the Sephora Best Skin Ever concealer. Absolutely love it. It blends in so beautifully. Now this is in the shade 59N. I'm using this shade, even though it's light, it's not as light as I would like to go, but I just want to show you guys what that would look like if you're just using one shade that's sort of closer to your skin tone but a bit lighter. Now what we're doing here is just highlighting our under eye just to bring out that brightness, because when we did use our foundation, it kind of neutralized everything and created like a blank surface that doesn't really have depth or dimension. And so when we do highlights or contour, for example, we're bringing back those dimensions, those depths to our face, and it's just what makes a look pop even more. I'm using this concealer and I just want to highlight. There's so many ways you could apply your concealer. That's kind of like the fun part to learning about makeup, is figuring out what works for your skin, what works for your face shape. And I think a lot of it just boils down to practicing, but also following and watching other people that have your similar features, facial features, skin type, whatever it is. That really helps in the learning process. So for someone like me, I have acne prone skin and I'm also oily, so that's just like something to keep in mind, because then the products that I use just help my skin as well, and I tend not to break out, or I'm not as oily throughout the day. I placed my concealer wherever I just needed that brightness, and so that's under my eye, on my forehead, down the bridge of my nose, my cupid's bow, and my chin. So while my concealer sits, I'm going to move on to another step, which is definitely optional, but I know there are a lot of beginners that want to learn this, so I'm going to apply it here. I'm moving on to contour, and so I'm going to be using the Fenty Beauty Matchstick, and this is in the shade Caviar. When it comes to contouring, you can definitely use a cream product or a powder product. For me, I really love using a cream product, and so I just like to apply it here. If we suck in our cheeks, the contour would be over here, diagonally going this way. So for me, I do like to go a bit higher, and I'll just use a little stroke. So for me, you could actually just go from the top of your ear downwards just a bit. I will place it here, and then I will put some on the back of my hand because I'm going to use that to contour my nose. I'm going to keep the contour very simple because this is a beginner friendly makeup tutorial, but I know some of you always ask me to include it. So for the contour, we are just going to lightly blend out. Now when it comes to makeup and when you're learning, it's easier to just start off small and then gradually build. And so for me, I just want to bring out my cheekbones a bit more, and so I am blending and also pushing it into my hairline. So we just have that over here and then into the hairline. Now when it comes to contour, you don't want to bring it all the way down, you just kind of want to keep it in this quarter corner of your face. That's like the easiest way to go, and again, as you're learning, you'll figure out what works for your face shape and all of that. So I like to keep it just very much into this corner, kind of like not past the end of my eyes. So this little corner is kind of like the indicator that I should keep the contour in that corner. And so that's kind of the easiest way to just go into contouring if you're learning, and then gradually you can learn more ways to better your contour. I apply my concealer, I do like to let it sit a bit. If you're a beginner, you definitely don't have to do that. You can go in straight away to blend it out. But I do find that when you let it sit a bit, it then just dries down a little bit and it allows you to have more control when you're blending it out. So you definitely have different options in the way you want to blend out your concealer. I would say use less concealer if you want to blend it out faster, and if you do have time, you can use a bit more concealer, let it dry down just a bit, and then blend it in. So I like to use the time that I'm contouring to allow the concealer to sit on my face. That just helps with the process and you don't have to waste so much time. Going in with a damp beauty blender, I love using a beauty blender to just blend out this under eye concealer. It's like the easiest way to do it. You could also use a brush. So as you guys can see how simple that is, like it's blended it out so nicely. So I'm just going back in. Ooh, I love that. For this side, I'm going to use a brush. I just want to show you guys what that would also look like. And you really want to place that concealer wherever you want it to be, and then keep the blend out process in that area. So if I kept it here, I really shouldn't be spreading it too far down. I should really focus my blending on keeping it in there. And so it's so much easier if you start off with less product and then you can build your way up. This is the side with the beauty blender. This is the side with the brush. They're both gorgeous, but I honestly love to go back in with a beauty blender because it just smooths everything out, and then I'll use that to blend everywhere else. I do have a breakout here. I definitely want to make sure I do not put that concealer on the breakout just because it's going to brighten it and bring your attention to it. So I'm making sure to stay away from that breakout with this concealer. And those are kind of like the little things that really helps you be aware of what makes your makeup better. And now for my nose contour, I'm going back into that contour that I put at the back of my hand, and it's as simple as drawing lines on the side of your nose, and I like to take it into my brow just to help. Contouring and highlighting with concealer is definitely much a skill you have to build, and you have to pay attention to the shape of your face and your nose and all of that. So don't be too hard on yourself if you're not catching it on instantly. I just really want to put everything together, so it's really helpful for beginners. I'm going back in with the beauty blender to make sure that nose contour isn't too harsh on the sides, and it's just me literally tapping away. Now that I'm done with my entire face, I really love going in with a beauty blender, and I'm gonna use a clean side of my beauty blender. I'd use this corner to blend out the concealer and the highlight and all of that, and so now I'm gonna use here to just dab all over my face. If you apply too much foundation, too much concealer, it's just the perfect way to take all of that excess off. And for me, I love doing this step because here I can make sure there are no harsh lines and everything is just seamless and nicely blended out. Now we can set our entire face, and I'm going to be using the Laura Mercier Loose Translucent Setting Powder. I do like to take some of that powder and pour it on the lid. As you can see, it's packed on there, and then I will work it into the back of my hand. My hand is honestly where I work in products before I go straight into my face. And if you're like me that was just talking, you just want to go back in to remove any creasing, and then I will set it with the powder. And now just setting every other place that we had placed that concealer. And now that I've set my highlighted points, I can go in with that powder again on a much bigger, fluffier brush. Work it into the back of my hand, and then I will set. And I'm just setting by dabbing this brush into the face, and then I will sweep everything across. So I like to dab first, and then I will sweep across. I have this lighter concealer, and if I really wanted my under eye to have been more brighter, I would have used it. This is the shade 55N. The first concealer we used was 59N, but I decided not to use it in this video since I already did the contouring. It might just be too much for you guys. But this is what that lighter concealer looks like, as you guys can see. When it comes to like a more simple makeup look, I like to stick to colors that are closer to my skin tone, because then it's not going to make a harsh contrast. Like if I'd used this concealer, my under eye might be too bright in comparison to how soft everything else on my face is going to be. This is the shade 59N. As you guys can see, there is that sort of difference, and this 59N just looks so much closer to my skin tone here, as opposed to the 55N that is super brighter, and then that's just gonna give me such a bright under eye. And if I'm trying to keep everything simple, beginner friendly, it might just be too glam for the softer, more natural look that I'm going for today. This is brow gel, and this is from Benefit. This is the 24-hour brow setter. Brow gel is very, very optional. but I just want to show you, if you have thick brows that definitely need brow gel, you just want to make sure you coat your brows really nicely with it and brush up your brows in the direction that you'll be filling it in. This just makes it easier. So I like to create the shape with the brow gel so that when I am filling it in with a brow pencil, brow pomade, whatever, it's just easier. To fill in my brows, I'm using the Benefit Brow Styler. This one is great because it has a pencil here and then it has a pomade. I like to use a brow pencil and a pomade. It just depends on my mood that day. But honestly, they both can give such natural as well as bold looking brows. It just depends on you. So for my brows, I really like to fill it in with short strokes. So I'll do a long stroke at the bottom and then one at the top to create that shape. And then I'll just fill it in with short strokes. I prefer to go in with a spoolie or like a brow brush, and then I'll just comb it in over here. Next we need some mascara, and so I'm going in with my Sisley Paris mascara. I really like using a mascara with a thin brush on it. It just really helps with my lashes because I barely have any. So we just want to make sure to coat in the bottom lash line. If you're someone like me that has oily lids, you can definitely take some of your powder on an eyeshadow brush and then just sweep it across. You could have also set your eyelids while you were setting your entire face when we used our powder. Oh, this is just turning out to be so beautiful. So I'm going in with my Makeup Forever Artist Color pencil. I really love this one, and this is optional as well, but I find when I do use a lip liner, it just really brings out any look, no matter how simple. So I'm just going in with this Artist Color pencil. Honestly, it's amazing. You can use it as an eyeliner, lip liner, wherever you want, brows as well. It just works really nicely. So I like to outline my lips with it, and then I'll go in with a gloss. This one is from Charlotte Tilbury, and just apply it all over. And I like to work it into the lip liner as well. Finally, setting spray, and this is the MAC Fix Plus. I like to test my setting spray before I use it on my face. So many accidents have happened by just using it directly on my face. And now we're just gonna let it dry down. Anytime I use a fixing spray or a setting spray, I definitely will go back in with a final touch of powder. And so I'm just gonna be using that same powder, but a fluffier brush that isn't as dense. And then I'm just gonna go over my face. This is just to remove any water droplets, but also to just really help everything look even more flawless. If you're like me and you think your brows are just too dark right now, you can always go back in with powder to just tone it down some more. All I'm doing is just tapping it in. I'm not like dragging it across. And this is the final look, a simple beginner friendly makeup look. I am so obsessed with how flawless I look right now. I hope you guys found this super helpful. Everything that I used will be down in the caption, and I'll see you guys in my next tutorial. Bye!